Guys and girls, Mark Crossfield here. Today I'm going to talk to you about releasing the golf club. So I want to talk to you about the reasons you do not release the club maybe the way you think you should. Throughout this whole video I want you to think of the term match-up. So in the comments down below, do you know what the term match-ups means in the golf swing? Let me know down there. If you post a comment in that section down there, hit the thumbs up button and you'll subscribe to this channel, and there'll be a link below where I'll post a question asking, do you know what matchup means on our new website, our coaching website. You can have a chance of winning a free golf lesson with myself. You can be anywhere in the world. We'll do it remotely for everybody. So it'll be a remote, COVID-friendly golf lesson. Let's talk why you can't release. Let's define what I mean by release to kick us off. So release is basically what you see when you film your swings, when the club gets, say, down here, to somewhere near impact to somewhere halfway through. So you're two kind of parallels down between impact. Think of that as what you're seeing as a release. And what the release is doing in theory is it's controlling if the face is open or closed as you hit the ball, so it's controlling where it points. It's controlling the loft as well, and it'll also be controlling or not the lie of the club. Now, why is it when you film your videos, maybe you see some funky releases? So you're seeing big flippy hands or buckled left arms and flicking forwards, all these kind of ideas. What's going on to make that happen? I'm going to kind of choose three of the top reasons I see people struggle to control their release, and also why maybe their release has to look the way it does, subject to the matchups that we'll show you in a second. And then one simple other point about release I want you to try and understand. Let's talk about like a neutral release. If I start addressing this ball, pretending I'm hitting a ball at the screen here, then all I'm going to do is pick the club up so it's parallel to the ground. I'm going to turn and now pretend I'm hitting the ball this way, join the right hand on with a bit of hip turn. You see, I'm not really doing anything. The release isn't rolling over, it isn't really turning, it's just gone the other side of me, which is why you see these kind of crisscrosses. So I'm not doing loads of this. I mean, there is an element of this, but it's not something that's as kind of exaggerated as maybe lots of people, certainly people who cut the ball, think it is. Right, first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use a strong grip. So I'm going to see all my knuckles on my lead hand, right hand, my trail hand's going under the club, and I'm going to try and hit target, but with the strongest grip I can do. Little bit of draw, but not bad for target. Now we're going to go lead hand, no knuckles, right hand, so the trail hand right on top of the club. So we're going to go what we call a really weak grip. Again, I'm going to try and hit target, hitting it this way. A little bit off to the right, but again, both of those not too bad for target bound. Let's show you what they look like. So shot on the right here, you can see my club path was 6.5 to the right, and I managed the face of 1.9 open to path. And then this one, we were 7.4 left, club path out to in. And I managed the face 6 open to that path. So you can see they're both going to kind of hit somewhere near target. Look at the release. So again, two parallels, that parallel to somewhere near impact to the first parallel on the way through. Very different shapes with my body. And you can see that in the pressure here, massively on my lead foot, and then my head is back to try and get the ball up in the air. Where the one where I used the weak grip here on the left, so this is strong on the right, weak on the left. You can see my pressure, the way I'm pushing in the ground is very different, completely different shape in the body. So if I'm someone who's going to use a weak grip, I mean, out of the two, we see a big jump in club head speed, 73 to 83 with a strong grip, because to manage this face, I couldn't get my body in stronger positions. I also folded left arm loads on the way through, the lead arm, where the lead arm on this one, you can see everything's more extended. So even though this one on the right has a very strong grip, this is closer to the classic positions people see. So grip is having a massive influence on my release of that golf club. So general rule of thumb, if you're someone with a stronger grip, you're going to see releases going out and around. Weaker grips, you're going to tend to see people going left. You're going to see lead wrists literally flipping forward to manage that. I actually don't do that. I use loads of rotation in my arms just because it just feels so crazy to break left arm down. But that's the most common one that you'll be seeing. It's kind of here to manage the weaker grip. The main point, if you want your release to reflect our demo release at the start, so think about it, this one, the classic one that you see on the telly and those kind of things, then your matchups of grips are going to have to be similar to that person you're trying to match up to. If you think about someone like Tiger Woods with a very classic release pattern, for instance, he's got pretty neutral grips, pretty neutral setups. He's doing everything pretty neutrally. So his release can look that textbook way, but his release is going to look very different to someone like Bernard Langer's or even Dustin Johnson, who are using different grips, which is why you're going to see stronger grip DJ coming through more this way before getting anywhere near here, and when he does get here, he'll probably have more face rotation. It's matchups. If you're trying to perfect that release position, which is something that's so common with students, you've got to reverse engineer it and check that your grip is not in extremes. If it is in extremes, you're going to see these kind of patterns. So that's face control. What about path, which also will influence face? So I'm going to do one swing where I hit into out, heavily to the right. Oh, I've just overturned that, but generally can hit target with that one. And the second swing here, I'm going to move path as out to in as I can and still try and hit target. Not bad for hitting target. That one, if we look at those two now and how the get on the line and how the release pattern has changed. So on the right, we've got the into out, club path into out by here 12 degrees, where the one on the left here, the club path is out to in 8.6. Again, if we go through to the release, if we just bring this back to last parallels, coming down to first parallels on the way through, look at the difference in those shapes of release. So body is resembling itself a little bit more, but again, look at the pressure in the feet on the into out here, way up on the left. On the out to in swing, I'm much more still in my right foot with the pressure trending backwards. Even the shape, the way I'm pushing on the ground, very different directions in these two. And then also we see a massive difference in how my hands are having to work, how the rotation of my forearms is having to work. So this one, we do see the crossing over of the hands, where this one I've managed to keep both arms extending out, similar to this one, but look at the rotations are so different. So this is considerably less rotated. Interesting way of looking at that. Look at my Your Golf Travel logo here pointing down at the ground, where on this one it's pointing out at the screen a lot more. Those two releases can't match with those paths being very, very different. One's going to have more of a rolling idea of release for me to function. The other one's much more of a holding off idea to function, because the path is influencing so much how that position looks. Again, if you're trying to improve that position, you've got to understand where your path is, because you've got to match it to the ideas of your club path. If you're someone who plays aggressively out to in, your release will generally not look the same as someone who wants to play aggressively in to out. None are either better or worse. They need to function to the player. Now the last idea is that's really going to influence your release patterns is how you manage the lie. So think as you get the toe into the ground, the handle of the club goes up, and then if I was hitting the ball with the toe in the air, for instance, look how the handle of the club goes out of the screen. So your dynamic lie is going to have huge effects on how this release appears. So these are my two hardest shots, to be fair. I can't get, I'm going to go toe ending down clubs as always my hardest ones. And the most common theory or problem with this, or kind of result in pictures that you see for this, is when people steepen the handle of the club, then as the club comes down, they know they're going to crash. So what happens is they've got to severely raise it. Unfortunately, that's out of all the things I'm able to emulate, that's one of the ones I just cannot do, because it just makes no sense to put the center of gravity of the club above my hand path. I literally can't hit it. No matter how hard I try, I always drop it down. This one is hard. So I am going to get a high handle at impact with this one, mind. Oh, again, trying to hit target, a little bit left. Dynamic lie of that was nearly 8 degrees toe ended down. So think about a good dynamic lie would be around 0 if your clubs are fitted, and if that's how you want them set up to play, to hit your best shots. You know, some people will play with this angle, but a few degrees, that's 8 degrees toe down. That's not going to be that functional. I'm going to hit the toe a lot with those kind of shots. And now I'm going to lower the handle and deliver a lower handle, so in theory now the toe will be up. Yeah, so we're seeing a toe nearly 2 degrees up. So we've got around it's a 10 degree difference in lie on those two shots. So on the left here is my low handle, on the right here's my higher handle delivery, and if we flip these cameras around to face on, just to match up the release patterns. Low handle, you can see the flipping over of the hands, you can see the collapsing in the knee as I try and keep that down, and then with the high handle, again, lot less flipping of my hands, a little bit more holding off, completely different shapes in my body as I try to manage the face to hit target. So again, these release patterns, look how high the hands are. I mean, they're still above the handle at this point, so they're holding off, where this one, the head is overtaking. So not only is the low handles overtaking, but it's also overtaking the high handle. It just will not overtake. I just can't get it to let go because I'm so busy pulling this handle up. And then again, look at the speed jumps. I mean, this is without even thinking about speed. 73 miles an hour and back down to under 70 miles an hour, 69 when I'm trying to hold off and manage. And again, look at the patterns in the ground, very different with the low handle, pressure on the front foot. The pressure's pretty even, or 60% on the back foot, 40 front foot on the two releases. So when you're filming your swings and you're thinking about trying to release the club, it's a product of. Just imagine, I've done 3 things there. Lots of people do all those 3 things wrong, yet they're still trying to manage this perfect release position. This is going to be always a product of what's gone before, right up to the setup that's influenced it in your grip, and even before you look at stance, which can influence it as well. These are just like the 3 main reasons. If you are seeing funky positions on the way through, you're seeing funky chicken left arms, you're seeing big outs and flip over of your hands, you've got to go reel it back. Think about, is the path of your club exaggerated from a direction? Is your grip exaggerated in a direction which is allowing you and making you have to manage the face? And is your handle delivery exaggerated in a direction? The reason, if I hit one, my release will look relatively normal, textbooky as I hit a shot. So last parallel, the first parallel on the way through is because my club face management is built around paths that are relatively neutral. I'm not moving my path too much. So club path 1.4 to the right, face only -2 to that. So I've got very small numbers in here. The lie of my club is pretty zeroed out. These aren't in any way funked up irons. The top of my head, I think these are like 1 degree flat, like they're very close to 0. So because everything of mine is relatively neutral, that's why you do see a more classic looking release. That doesn't make me a better player than someone like DJ, does it? Who uses his matchups to win a lot of money, majors, and be one of the best players in the world. Again, it's matchups, and it's understanding if those matchups work for you or if they're hurting you. Don't try and fix the release. You've got to fix everything that goes before, then you'll be more functional. Thanks for watching. Let me know if that makes sense. Let me know if you've thought about it that way before. If you've been someone who's definitely tried to kind of fix this position without trying to do anything before. Certainly for my students through the years, getting this position changed on the way through, even though I might look at it and think, look, that doesn't look very healthy, it's always going to relate back to impact. And if the impact is funky, I'm going to relate it back to what's making it funky: grip, path, lie angle. Basically, they're the functions of the follow through. You're managing the face, or trying to, or not successfully managing it, and that's why you then have to break things down for get your better results to hit target. Let me know if this makes sense in those comments down below. Remember, you can still win a remote lesson with me. If you like the video, post in the comments down below from the question at the start, and also if you follow the link, answer the question on our new My Golf Games website, you'll have a chance of winning a remote lesson, and hopefully we could look and talk about the matchups in your release. Thanks for watching.